Hunter. I am a poet, spoken word, hip-hop artist, clothing line entrepreneur, and tonight I am your host for DDaye's 3 nights of spooky reads. Stay tuned. Good evening, and welcome to DDaye's 3 Spooky Nights of Halloween. I'm your host, yours truly, Dominique Daye Hunter, and I have a couple good pieces for you this evening. Some original pieces. The first is a poem that I like to call Rising. It's an ode to Naminosa, Mother Moon. So beautiful that she fills the sky, filling every night until it's the full moon on Hallows Night. This is Rising. She walks towards the moon to quiet her soul. She reaches for darkness to brighten the glow. Inner light travels to places unknown, from prayers the weight that anchors this flow. She searches for insight towards limitless growth. Lunar light gently warms the earthen womb as it grows and grows and grows. This next piece is called Flirting with Mortality, and it is also an original short story by yours truly, Dominique Daye Hunter. The rain fell at a steady pace against my windshield window pane. The wipers of my whip glided lazily across the streaks of dust and chips in the glass. The sounds of my phone, which beeped in my lap, told me where to go and who was calling me, but the sounds faded past the fog of my mind into the dark of the night. I arrived at my next delivery stop, burnt my fingers on the pizza box. Returning to my car, I saw a cat, black with green eyes, as it approached me. I swear I saw my own mortality. It walked diagonally, not quite across my path. As I looked down to open my car door, I swore I heard it laugh. I sat at the intersection of Baseline and 51st Avenue. As I turned left to head west, I noticed flowers on the corner. Another little homie was shot yesterday by a cop who stopped him in a stolen whip. He saw but didn't realize it was a fake gun. As little homie started to run, he raised his hands and lowered his eyes on the crosshairs. Little homie was close to the gate, but before he got there, the cop's finger hit the trigger. Shots fired. Little homie laid in the gravel with a slug in his back, lying in a puddle of his own blood. I shuddered to think of my own nephews. Little homie was Chicano, only 14, not even ripe enough to be a vato. He took the gun from the car's glove compartment. The gun he took was plastic. The gun he had was plastic. Lil homie was from the south side, and so were the other brown and black boys who happened to get their hands on toy guns and real guns, both lightweight plastic and metal heavy, all deadly. Little brown and black bodies, all little brown bodies really, from dark to light skin, scattered amongst the night like stars, making blood angels as their mothers' hearts break, scars that never go away. Just then 2 coyotes came out of nowhere. I rolled down the window and yelped and howled because sometimes that's the only way to get the feelings out. They crossed in front of me, going west. The first ignored me. The second was walking, then after a long delay, he stopped and turned to see where the noise had come from. The fuck? He starts looking over his shoulder and looking back at his homie, doing 4 double takes. Did you hear that? Man, you've been chewing on too much root tonight. Let's go before that lady realizes that we ate her chihuahua. I'm telling you, man, there's been some crazy brown people out here making calls. I hear them when I'm mobbing, even when I'm sleeping. His friend sighs, again with the voices. Come on, let's go, man. The first coyote hesitates and pauses. After a moment, he laughs maniacally.
Let's go, man.
They run off. I pick up and drop off my next delivery. It was to Jasmine, a sweet 20-something sister with box braids. Thank you, she said, and smiled politely. I looked at the $5 in my hand and lit up. Thank you, sister. Have a good night. I begin to drive. Things are eventless. This is the most dangerous part of the evening, when there is nothing distracting me from the constant mental feed of nothingness. And my mind starts to slip. I somehow find myself not able to stop thinking about that little boy. I see him smiling, and then his brains are blown out in front of me. I shout aloud and slam on the brakes. I almost ran a red light. Two brothers in the whip next to me giggle through their lit eyes and make their left turn. I catch my breath and look in the mirror. Damn, I look like Bambi in the headlights. My pupils are big, my forehead is swollen and sweating. Who said you can't share someone else's trauma again? Post-traumatic, relentless stress of the brown person disorder. You see, in order to explain why my brain feels insane, I must first think through this insanity called the USA. I was born into trauma. Alcoholic parents, abuse, and near-death experiences. But even before that, like way back, hundreds of years of my ancestors being genocided, enslaved, raped, and murdered, and now the modern genocide of cop killers and human trafficking. More rape, more murder. How can we reorder ourselves to escape this hell? No wonder so many teens want to die. And if you think their cry for help is just a cry, compare the rates of committed suicide from district to district line, and you'll find that the highest rates of suicide are amongst Native, brown, and black teens. Homicide too. Because as Mama always used to say, be mindful of your thoughts. Usually suicidal and homicidal tendencies tend to hang around each other. And no, I don't think everyone with suicidal ideations wants to turn the gun first and take out their classmates, but she has a point. Once a person has lost all hope, or I should say once society has beaten it out of them relentlessly, their minds tend to wander about death, you know? And death, she's a tricky bitch. It'll have you killing your own family and friends, classmates, girlfriends, boyfriends, strangers, because it will have convinced you that this is the end. Is this the logic? The cop twisted to fit the little boy's description, hopelessly dangerous? Or is this the story he projects onto the boy when it is his story all along? After all, the little boy didn't turn out to be the murderer. The cop was. Life is a fickle bitch. At least death greets you with a kiss. On a similar but dissimilar note, because that's how anxious thinking works, people tend to tell me, you have a dark sense of humor. I reply, haven't you noticed? This world is a dark fucking place. I mean, why else are people yelling in the street just for others to notice their humanity? Why else would people survive cancer and have a family just to get run over, just for their whole family to die in a car crash? We live in a white Anglo-Saxon, Protestant, heteropatriarchal, misogynistic serving system which is so successful, it has convinced a brown man to shoot a brown child who was running away from him in the opposite direction. People fear death. Huh, I ponder aloud, but this shit seems way worse than death. This is like the shit you step in before you get to wipe your kicks clean, wipe your slate clean. Just then I heard honking. I realized the light has been green for I don't even know how long. I look up and see a lowrider truck that seemed to appear out of nowhere. It's blasting music. The Smoke pours from the bumping car. Damn, I think to myself, someone has turned up. The car swerves around me and pulls to my left. It's a crew of homies, but I can't make out their color. All I can see are their bones and their clothes, Dickies, J's, white proteins, and Chuckies. The driver is giving me eyes, and I decide to give him some back. Flirting with death never made much sense, but I can now say that I get it. The invite never seemed so enticing, inciting endorphins to race through my brain. Addicted to chaos isn't just something they say. The homie in the passenger side leans out the window and spits his own game. Damn, girl, he says so smoothly. Anyone ever tell you that you got a dark sense of humor? He smiles slyly, passes me a rose, and blows me a kiss. They all yell out their own unique rebel yells, gritos and war cries, and peel off into the night. I stare after them as they disappear into the smoky gray, and I laugh my fears away. DDaye, thank you for joining me on this first spooky night. Spooky Reads with DDaye. Until tomorrow.